Hey, Matt from Strong You again. I want to go through some of the progressions for building stability in your deadlift. So once you understand the body positions required, meaning good thoracic extension, neutral lumbar posture, how do we build abdominal pressure in those movements and have it carry over your deadlift? So given that we've already built the positional awareness where you know where your body is in space, at least in the deadlift, we're going to go through some options on how to build strength in those positions and eventually with the end goal of building up to a full competition deadlift. So we'll use mostly dumbbells and kettlebells. I like them a little bit more for building the pattern, and then in your kind of later phases of building up the technique, then you get into barbells. So first and foremost would just be about understanding how to create good abdominal pressure and what to look for when you're doing it. So the idea with it is you're going to use your hands to do your own check here, and you want to make a C shape out of both hands, and your thumb is going to go, if you find the center point of your hip bone, you're going to go up about an inch and back about an inch, and that's where your thumbs go, and then your index finger will go kind of on the other side. So if I'm up and back an inch, I'm going to be up and forward about an inch or two on the front. So I've kind of made a little C clamp on my waist so I can crush it and scratch. I can kind of generally agitate the area. So if you're properly braced, if you put that C clamp on there and you go through deadlift, you should feel that there's no change in stiffness, and it's going to feel quite tight. You'll feel that you can't really draw in like a stomach vacuum. That won't work. You'll have to actually push out against it to create that kind of stiffness. And naturally that kind of sharp, pokey feeling you get from your fingertips is enough to get you to stiffen up. So understanding how to go through this hip hinge without a change in abdominal pressure is your cornerstone for having your deadlift. From there, you want to work on adding load. So we can do this a bunch of different ways. We can add kettlebells to it, we can add dumbbells, we can go straight to a barbell. Generally what I'd recommend is if you find that you're doing this and you have to really think about it, you probably want to keep some kind of a touch activation or something that gives you a lot of feedback as you go through the movement, at least to start. So generally speaking, that's going to mean one of two things. One is that you're going to keep a hand on your waist, so you would use an asymmetrical load, like so, right? So I could go single arm deadlift, and you could load these up pretty heavy. I've had clients do this with up to 100 pounds before. And it's a pretty sweet core and glute exercise if you want something kind of extra to do for your deadlift and build up that stability and a really good technique builder. So you would go here, you've got your C clamp, and then you're going down and up through your deadlift, just working on keeping that stability that you're working on, right? Second way you can build these up is you can have something independent of your hands to help keep stability or give you feedback on where your stability is coming from. So a couple options. There are some products out there like a Core 360 belt and stuff like that, but we'll try to go with stuff you've already got in the gym. So you could use your TheraBands or resistance bands. Hip circles work pretty well for this, but you're quite simply just going to tie a light loop around your waist. You want to make sure you're on that soft fleshy part, not on your actual hip bones. Okay, and I've just got it enough where it's slightly taut. So if I brace, I can feel the band stretch out a little, but if I relax, I can feel the band crush me in a little bit. So you can see there to there is some extra tension on the band, okay? Your focus should really be on pushing out laterally and creating that stiffness on your sides. That's generally gonna be your best bang for your buck. So from there, then I could go through, let's say a really heavy 2-arm kettlebell deadlift. I could go through my barbell deadlifts this way as well. You could, by the same rationale here, use your belt and just have it a little bit looser to where you have to push out against your belt in order to get that contact, right? So here, stiff, and I'm just working on going down and up as I go through the movement, okay? So those would be the two main ways that I'd work on having you feel that abdominal pressure as you're going through your deadlift movement, whether it be one of these single arm or just sort of lighter deadlift accessories or doing a full barbell deadlift. In terms of progressions, once you feel like you're pretty confident with that technique and that's feeling good, you can step that up and you can get into movements like tempo deadlifts, cone deadlifts, where as you go down, you're trying to touch the bar to the ground really soft, still letting it have a dead stop on each rep. So the idea with that being you need to be able to create full control. If you're somebody who kind of deadlifts up really fast, pass and you'll tend to round over, and then you'll just drop the bar down. You're never really learning that tension that you need to create in your torso to create stiffness. So the idea being, if you're slow and controlled, it's very challenging to put yourself into less stable positions, because it's just going to, by nature, speed the lift up, because you have to rely on momentum or gravity to go through the movement. So cone deadlifts are probably one of my favorite technique builders. And then the last piece is just going into your full competition deadlifts, right? So start slow with your single arm asymmetrical deadlifts, or something that gives you lots of touch feedback. Build into a tempo deadlift or a cone deadlift where there's a little bit more of a control element in that barbell deadlift, but it's still quite similar to your barbell deadlift. And then go full bore with your competition deadlifts. You could easily do a lot of the exercises as a warm-up for your deadlift as a technique builder, and then just do your regular deadlift workout. And over time, your technique should improve as long as you've worked on that initial part of the positional awareness that we talked about earlier. Thanks. Let me know if you have any comments below in the video, or feel free to share this article if you found that it helped you. See you next week. Have a great one.